Okay, so we are live on YouTube. It's just that I can't see my face on YouTube and it says live. That's great. So welcome back, aliens, to another live session. This time we are talking about Solidity programming. So basically, we are building an application on Ethereum, which is a blockchain. And this is our second session. And in this session, we are going to write our first code. Okay, but then normally we start at 7, right? We started a bit early. I thought let's discuss something before we start the session so we can have a Q&A session. And the session will start exactly in next 5 minutes, which is 7 p.m. So at this point, if you're watching this later after the live streaming, this is 6:55. We are waiting for 5 more minutes to start with. Okay, so just want everyone to join. The session will start in 5 minutes. But till that point, I can take up some of your questions and yeah. Okay, streaming looks good, health is good, and everything looks normal here. And my voice, okay, voice is also good. Cool. So I'm just waiting for everyone to join, and by the time you join and we start the session, I want to see your questions and your thoughts on the live session. In fact, we are doing multiple live sessions in the last 1 month, right? We did it for Java. Now we are doing it for blockchain. We are still continuing with Java, which we are doing alternate days, Java and blockchain. And soon I'm going to come up with Python live course. Even that will be fun, right? But again, that will take some time. As of now, I want to finish Java and Solidity. Yes, we are going to talk about Solidity today. And the thing about this series or this live series is we are not focusing on the step-by-step process. We are trying to build a product. So whatever is required to write a code, we are going to focus only on those things. Yes, blockchain for life. Okay, Gautam says, is it wise to choose blockchain Solidity as a career? Why not? See, in future, I'm not sure if Ethereum will be there or Solidity will be there, but you have to start somewhere. If you understand one technology, one blockchain platform, it is easier to jump around, right? So at least start with Ethereum now, and in future, you can switch to some other popular blockchain. Okay, how to switch to blockchain career? Just watch this series and keep learning about blockchain, keep learning about Ethereum, Polkadot, Solana, and that's how we do it. Or you can join our blockchain development course. You can see it in the pinned chat. That's one way. Okay, Salil says, can we ask you some doubts or just explanation from you? You can ask some doubts, and if it is relevant to the topic which we're talking about, I will try to answer that. But then it's very difficult to do QA while doing a session on YouTube. Yeah, Solidity for life. Cool. What will be the salary for a blockchain developer as a fresher? See, it's very different. It depends actually, you know. You may get, if you're talking about Indian rupees, you may get around 10,000 rupees per month, or you may receive 10 lakh rupees per month. It's very different, depending upon your skill set, depending upon which company you join, depending upon what project you're working on. So I always believe your skill set, I mean, your salary is depend upon your skill set. Okay, so when you say fresher, it's again subjective term for different companies. So when there are some companies where they look only for people who knows basic JavaScript, and then they will train you on blockchain. For them, you're a fresher, then they will pay you less. But then if you are joining a company which is itself a blockchain company and they are building some amazing product, now for them, fresher means you know everything about blockchain, it's just that you have not worked on real projects. So that's the fresher term there. So it's very subjective, again, it depends upon your skill set. So just to give you some comfort there, it is better than all the other fields. Okay, not better than, but then, so if let's talk about the upcoming fields with like AI or robotics or IoT, it matches with that. Okay, Code Grade says, can we work on Remix Online IDE? Yes, in fact, in today's session, we are going to focus on Remix only. Okay, we're going to start the session in next 1 minute. So any questions before that? Okay, I'm from non-BTech background. Can I have a scope in blockchain? See, the IT or technology is only field, or computer technology is the only field where anyone can join. You don't need a degree in computer science or in IT. You can come from any field, and I've seen people moving from non-technical background to technical field, and they're doing very good. So there's no doubt in that. It's just that you need to work hard. If you are very focused in something, of course, you can achieve it. Okay, what about Web 5? Web 5 is just starting up, right? So it will take some time. In fact, Web 5 is Web 3 itself with a new name. That's it. Okay, Karthik says, I'm coming on 23rd. I'm a Java developer. Is it possible to switch? Of course, it is possible to switch. Okay, will you be using Binance blockchain? Yes. Oh, in this series, no. I will create a separate series on Binance blockchain. Okay, Salil says RBI is planning to build its own crypto, great opportunities, blockchain. In fact, yes, most of the government projects are doing using blockchain there. There are some big companies in India itself who are building their product on blockchain. It's just that, it is not getting marketed properly, or it is not uh, have a positive impact towards the consumers. So it will take some time for developing, and it will be there. See, as a user, they can wait for Web3, but as a developer, you should be the one who are building this product. You should not be waiting for blockchain to evolve. You should start building on it, and you have to be the person who will make an impact in the blockchain field. Okay. Praveen says, Menti today? No, there is no Menti today. Okay, should we require any JavaScript knowledge for doing good in Solidity? Not specific to JavaScript. You should know at least one programming language. I mean, of course, you can learn Solidity from base. Maybe you can just start. Even if you don't know any programming language, you can learn Solidity. It's just that if you know other languages, it is better. Off topic, do you have C#? No, I don't have C# course on this channel. I have worked on C# a lot, but then I have not made a videos on it. Okay, when will be the blockchain course start? So if you see the pinned link on the top, it starts from 23rd of July, which is next 10 days. Yeah, in next 10 days, we are going to start with it. Okay, can someone learn JavaScript from Hitesh course and blockchain course simultaneously? Yes, in fact, blockchain development, we have JavaScript language as well. Nitin is saying have registered for the hackathon on 23rd. Okay, that's great. Do you get any other confirmation email regarding this? So you will receive a call from the team for the confirmation. Okay, cool. So it's 7:02 and let's start with the session, everyone. So I hope you're excited. So I'm going to screen, which is here. Okay, so before we start, I just want to talk about what we did in the last session. So basically, we were able to do some setup. One is you have to install the browser. In fact, there's no need for browser. You can use Chrome as well. But then we have installed Brave browser. And on top of that, we have already installed an extension called MetaMask. Now, MetaMask will act as a wallet for you. Okay, so let me share my screen. And also let me know if... Okay, before we start, hit that like button, everyone. I'm not seeing the like button moving up. Okay, so here we go. I'm sharing my screen and let's get started. So in the last session, in fact, just to give you a walkthrough what we are going to do, we are basically building an application on blockchain with the help of Ethereum platform. Now, when you talk about Ethereum, it's one of the most famous blockchain available where you can build application. Yes, you can debate it for Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin is awesome. Bitcoin is famous. The only thing is you can't make your own application. In fact, it's not easy. You can make it, but it's not easy to build your own application on Bitcoin network. And that's where we need platform like Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot, Neo. So this is where you have a place where you can build application. So what we're going to do here is we are going to use our MetaMask. So I'm using a Brave browser here. You can use your favorite, which is Chrome or Firefox, your choice. But now I'm using Brave, and you can see I have already installed a a wallet here or an extension in this, which is called MetaMask. Now, by default, when you install this, what you will get is the Ethereum mainnet. Okay, this is what you will get, and by default in your account you have 0 ETH. Now, of course, in your machine you need, I mean, if you want to make it work, you need to have some ethers with you. Now, the problem is if you want to buy ether to do development or to test your application, test your smart contract, you have to buy them. Now, how much does ether cost? Maybe you have to pay around 90,000 rupees for 1 ether. Now, we don't have that much of money, right? So what we can do is, instead of running on the main network, now what is main network here? See, whatever transactions you do, that goes into a block, right? Just to give you a, and I'm just expecting that you have seen the basics of the video. Let me know in the chat if you have seen the basic videos, which I have shared with you in the last session. And trust me, if you have not seen those videos, it will be very difficult for you to understand what I'm talking about. So let me know in the chat window if you have seen the basics of blockchain. Okay, Praveen is saying the current price of Ethereum is 95,000. Okay. Yeah, the price is fluctuating. Okay, Vaibhav is saying by when I can receive a call for the confirmation. Okay, let me just see. Let me talk to my team and I will let you know the dates as well. Okay. Okay, Karthik says, yes, seen all the videos. That's awesome. Okay, awesome. So what we're talking about here is, see, when you talk about blockchain is multiple blocks and they all are chained together, right? Now, this chain is basically goes into a network, right? And that network for the Ethereum is the main network, mainnet, which they call, or main network. So basically all these blocks have been saved on the mainnet. Now, whenever you do a transaction, that transaction is getting stored in a new block. So every new transaction will become a part of a block. Of course, in one block, you can have multiple, transactions. So let's say we have 10 transactions here. Now, if you want to add your block in the blockchain, so when you add your block in a blockchain, you basically need to pay some ethers, right? Because in the network, you'll be having miners. We have to pay the miners fees as well. So basically, whenever you do something, you need to pay a fee, right? So on the main network, when you do a transaction, so even if you want to add two numbers, you need to pay a fee. Okay, now you'll be saying, hey, we don't do that in the Web3 world, Web2 world, right? So basically, when you write a code on Java or maybe JavaScript or Python, if you want to add two numbers, you don't pay for the operations. But in blockchain, every time you do a transaction, every time, even if you add two numbers, you need to pay a fee for it. Now, on the main network, you have to pay a fee. But what if you can create some test networks? Now, in this test network, you don't have to pay a fee. Okay, now people are saying you can't see me on the screen. That's on purpose because last time when I was showing my face, some text was getting hide, some text was hidden behind my face. So just focus on the writing example which I'm doing here. And then of course, in between, I will show my face. Okay, just to show you that's I'm real. You can see I'm here. It's just that I'm writing here. That's why I removed it. Cool. So basically, this is the test network. So instead of doing everything on the main network where you have to pay ethers, real ethers, okay, not fake ethers. On the test network, we can actually use fake ethers, right? Now, how do you get those fake ethers? So when I say testnet, which testnet we have? In fact, we have multiple options for the test network. Let me show you the options here. So if you can see so when you click on this MetaMask, you get multiple options here. Okay, where the MetaMask gone? Okay, so you can see if I click on this drop down, we have an option of Robster network. We have an option of Coven. We have Rinkiby, and we have a lot of options there. There's also an option of localhost, where basically you can have this network running on your own machine. Okay, now if your machine is powerful enough, you can do that, and we'll be doing this in the upcoming videos. But as of now, we are going to use the inbuilt test network. And the test network we are going to use here is Rinkiby. Okay, and even if you say Rinkiby test network, you can see we have 0 Rinkiby ethers. Even this is fake And in the fake world as well, you have 0 ethers. Imagine how poor we are. So I want to get some ethers here. Of course, fake one, but then I want to get some ether. Even 0.1 ether will do for me. Now, how will you get this ether? So you can just click on buy, but then if it is fake, why you have to buy? So when I say buy, it's actually you have to request for the tokens. The one way you can do that is by, okay, you can click on buy. Yeah. So you can see when you click on buy, it will give you an option of test faucet. Okay, even this is one way. And by chance, if you have seen my videos on YouTube on Ethereum, which I created 3 years back, uh, I have used this example. The only problem is if you try this, sometimes you will not get the ethers, or basically it will ask you to post something on social media to get the faucet. That's one way. The another way we can do is every time you get a new type of faucet here. So there's one website you can go to, or one place where you can go to. You can just search for, what was the website name? I guess something like faucet. Yeah. So you can go to this website, which is faucets.chain.link, and this is where you can get your ethers, or you can get your fake ethers. Now to do that, you have to first mention which network you want. I want it for Rinkibi. So I want for Ethereum Rinkibi. And you can click on connect wallet. So this will connect with your MetaMask. So you can see we got an option which is MetaMask here. Now, okay, so it's trying to connect. So it will select an account for you. Now, of course, we can create multiple accounts. Currently we are using only one, and you can click on next. Is that the address? It should be, and click on connect. Now, when you say connect, it will get the address for you. This is your MetaMask address. I'm not sure if you can see the font. Let me increase the font size a bit. Okay, basically this is the address which I have, the wallet address. Let me just verify once. If I click on MetaMask and it ends with 096C, so it is correct. This is the address we have. Now what I only want the test ethers. How many ethers we are getting, which is 0.1 test ethers. In real life, it will be around $1,500, which is 9,000, or not $1,500, $150. Yeah, 9,000 rupees. But anyway, we don't need test links. We are going to get 0.1 ethers, which is enough for our examples. And then when you want the fake ethers, you have to even prove that you are human. Now, why you have to prove here is because if you don't prove it here, anyone can request for multiple ethers. And yes, it is fake ethers. The only thing is this network is actually a contribution from the developers itself, or a team itself. So every time you use ethers, every time you do a transaction, they are running their machines to make this work. So this is basically a community process, a community help. So don't waste the transaction. Since we are learning, I'm teaching you. That's why I'm doing all these weird transactions. But when you build a product, when you're testing it, use it wisely. So I'll prove myself by selecting the bus here. Okay, it's difficult to track the bus. Is it a bus? Yes. Looks like a bus. Looks like a bus. Bus. Okay. Click on next. Okay. Some more buses. Bus. And here. Okay. Cool. Okay. So it hence proved I'm a human here, but then we call ourselves as aliens, right? Anyway. Now click on send request. Now it will take some time for us to get the ethers, and oh, the problem is before this session, I tried it and that's why it's not working. It says you made too many requests. Please try after. Okay, what is this time? What is 1350 UTC? What's the current time? Do I have to try? Oh, I have to try after 10 minutes. I can't wait for that. How can I get my ethers, fake ethers? Any solution for this? Okay. How about if I try for Rinkibi at some lobster network? Okay, do I have some other network here? Okay, so let's wait for it. It will take some time. And by the time, what we can do is instead of using Rinkybi network, what if we can run it on the local machine? Okay, we'll do that. Now, okay, anyway, we have to wait for that. So let's wait for it. And now what we can do is let's go to Remix. So where do we type our code? We are going to type our code in Remix. So we'll say Ethereum, or we can say Remix IDE. Why to say Ethereum? Remix IDE. Okay, that's the project. And where's the IDE link? Okay, let's go to the project. And then here we can click on Remix IDE. So this is your Remix IDE. Now you can see we have home option here. We don't want anything from the home option. Click on close on that. So this is Remix. Okay, there are some keyboard shortcuts. When I say Control S, it will be compiled automatically. That's awesome. But where should I type the code? I don't know if you can see the screen here. Let me just expand it a bit. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Anyway, so here what we have is, you can see we have contracts here, right? Now, on the left-hand side, we have multiple buttons here. Let's focus on the first one. Now, this is where you will have all your files. This is your file explorer. This is where you can search your files, but we're not going to use this because anyway, we're going to have only one file. Then this is where you have your compiler. Now, how exactly a Solidity programming or Solidity code works? Now, if you are familiar to Java, this will look similar. So what you do first is you create a file. Okay, now this file is your Solidity file. The extension would be .sol. The way you have Java, we say .java. Then we have for C, we say .c. For C++, we say .cpp. In the same way, in the world of, okay, let me share my face for some time. Yeah. So when you talk about Solidity, we have an extension which is .sol. Now, this is where you will type your code, all the Solidity code. Then this thing goes for the compilation. So basically, this is where you will be having a compiler. How do I design a compiler? We can say something like this. This is your compiler. It doesn't look like a compiler. Very bad with images. But let's say this is your compiler here. And your compiler will convert this code into what? Now, if you're coming from C, C++, Java, or not Java, but C, C++, what you do is you compile your code and directly you get a native code. But in Solidity and in Java, what you get is you get a different file structure here, which is not exactly a machine code and not exactly a code which a human can read. Now, this is called a bytecode. Okay, so your code gets converted into a bytecode, which is not easily readable. Okay, this is not easily readable, but you get a bytecode. And then you compile and then you have something called a virtual machine here. So this is your Ethereum. I'm very bad with logos as well. This is where you will be having the Ethereum virtual machine. This is your EVM, okay? And then inside this EVM, it will run the code. And then what you get at the end is the output. Okay. So let me repeat what I have just mentioned. So first thing you do is you create the .sol file, which is your Solidity code. Then that Solidity code goes into compilation. Then after compilation, what you get is a bytecode. You get a bytecode. Now this bytecode, okay, just a second. Yeah. Now this bytecode goes into your virtual machine, and this is where you execute your code, and then you will get the output. Cool. So at the start, what we are going to do is we are going to use our Remix IDE, and in this IDE, we are going to write our SOL files. We have an option of compiler there where we will compile our code. And then we also have to deploy the code. Okay, that's a step. So when you want it to work on EVM, we need to deploy the code. And once it is deployed, you can run it. Simple steps. Let me know in the chat if it is something which you understood, whatever we have talked about till now. And I'm just assuming that you understood what I'm talking about. So let's continue here. So this is where you have your compiler. So you can see we have a compiler option here. Now it has multiple versions. So we'll talk about that version in a bit. And then you have an option of auto compile. I guess for your machine, by default, it will not be checked. But I have checked it so that I don't have to compile every time. And if you don't want to see the warnings, because as a programmer, we don't care about warnings. There are multiple memes online, right? Which says, as a programmer, we don't care about, just a second, yeah. So as a programmer, we don't care about warnings. What we care about is just um, errors, right? Awesome. And then you get an option here of compiling. As of now, you can see there's no need, there's nothing to compile. And then, okay, this is one thing. Okay, there's a question from Karthik. What is mean by deploy? So basically, whenever you have EVM, if you say your code is going to run on the EVM, okay, so when you say your code is going to run on the EVM, you have to push your code to EVM. That's deployment. Okay. Okay, and I can see a lot of people are getting confused between the live course which we are doing now. This is basically a crash course on Solidity. And if you're getting confused from the full blockchain course, that is different, okay? The full blockchain course, you can find the link in the chat, pinned chat. This is a different series. I'm just preparing you for the hackathon if you want to participate. Okay. Code Grade says how to connect with the remix with MetaMask. We'll see that in some time. Okay, what time we can actually try for this? We can try at 7:22. It's 7:21 now in India. Okay, we have to wait for 1 more minute for the faucet. But as of now, let's focus on Remix. So once you have compiled your code, where are we going to deploy the code? So you can see we have deploy option here. Now you have multiple environment here. Now by default, your Remix gives you a virtual environment, VM, which runs on the browser. And initially we'll use this, and then we'll move towards using the Rinkibi network. And by default, you can see Rinkibi, we are expecting only 0.1 Ether, right? Think about this. The JavaScript VM here gives you 100 Ethers. Just imagine, okay? And it gives you multiple accounts, not just one. So you can see how many Ethers you have to use. But again, these Ethers are fake Ethers. Don't be happy or don't get excited. Okay, there's a question from Sangam. Is EVM similar to JVM? And that is correct. And that's why I say Java is very important. If you understand Java programming language, if you understand Java technology, it is easier to switch to those other technologies. Okay. So we are going to use JavaScript VM to start with. And anything to mention here? Okay, we'll understand other things once we get started. Nothing to focus here, nothing to talk about this thing. We are not going to do the testing in this session, so let's focus only on the three sections. The first one is where we are going to have files. The second one is this is the compiler, and this is your deployment. Now, question: what is Ether? Ether is a cryptocurrency in the Ethereum on the Ethereum platform. And if you want to learn more about this, please watch my playlist on blockchain. Yes, Java Zindabad. Okay, so now this is where we are going to create our contracts, right? And then to start with, we are going to use JavaScript virtual machine, but still I want some ethers in my Rinkibi. Anyway, we are not going to use Rinkibi today, but we need some ethers there, right? So let me just request once again. You might also face the same issue. So let me request once again, and it's asking me to select bicycles. It's here. Okay. Again, cycles, verify, send request. Oh, you have made too many. What's wrong with this? Okay, I should use some different website. Any website, new website, you know? It could be faucets. But is it a good website? Doesn't matter. Anyway, we are going to get fake money. Oh, this is from Alchemy, right? So it should be good. Alchemy is a repeated website. It's taking a lot of time. But anyway, don't have enough time. So it says you will get 0.1 Rinkibi ETH per day. Okay, even that works. Okay, yeah, even I can do that, right? So I can change my wallet address to get. So let me. Let's try Robston. Okay, even this is failed. Okay, wallet just got disconnected. Okay, I think I got the okay. So I got the Rinkibi from the Alchemy. That's great. At least we got some tokens here. Yeah, that's right. MetaMask sometimes works very weirdly, but anyway, it works. That's important, right? Okay, cool. So we got some ethers, right? You can see we got 0.1 ether, but anyway, we are not going to use those things today. We are going to use our JavaScript virtual machine, which is giving me 100 ethers. So let's use it. Okay, JM says he will send me or she will send me some ethers. Yeah, at least I got it now. Or maybe let's try this, okay? Let's try this. So what if I want to receive some ethers here? So I'm requesting JM, hey, can you send me some ethers? Some Rinkibi ethers. I'm sharing my address in the chat, and let's see if we can receive that. Cool. Now, what I will do is I will write my first smart contract. Now, what is smart contract? If you're coming from the world of Java or C++, imagine creating a class, right? So that's how you create a smart contract. So let me click on this smart contract tab here. And you might be having multiple folders. I've deleted all the unwanted folders. If you have something weird folders here, just remove it for the start with. Anyway, we are going to use those folders later. At this point, we don't want it. And then create a new file. Now I will name this file as my contract. Of course, you can name anything you want, but my contract, say enter. And this is your contract file. And JM was supposed to send me some ethers. Have you received it? Not yet. Okay. Now, one more thing. Before we type a code, I want to talk about something interesting. See, when I requested for the token from the Alchemy, so when I requested for this token, now that is one transaction. So from the Alchemy server or from the faucet, I received some ethers, right? 0.1 ether, but I received it, right? Now that is a part of a transaction because you're doing something, you're changing something. Every time you change something on the network, that is one transaction. And you can see I got two transactions now, one from Alchemy and one from JM. Thank you so much, JM, for the 0.5 ETH from your side. And you can see I've received from, okay, you can't see it. I'm not sharing my screen. Okay. Oh, I'm getting more. So more people are sending it. Anyone from the chat who is sending me this money? So you can see in the activities here. So if you want to know who sent this Rinkibi, so I got 0.5. I got this one from Alchemy. I got this from, okay, which so if I want to know which address, okay, I'm receiving more money here. That's great. It's 1.2 now. You can see I received so much from, I'm not sure which address. And that's the beauty, right? So on this network, you are not sure who is sending money. What you receive is only the address here. Now, if I want to know what other transactions I have done, I can just copy this address, or maybe I can just watch everything. You can see we have an option here. You can track all the transaction on this Etherscan. Now, Etherscan is not just for Rinkybi, it actually tracks the real Ethereum transactions as well. So if I delete Rinkybi from here, let me just try Etherscan, just Etherscan. This is where you can actually track all the transactions, okay? So this is the latest transaction on the Ethereum block. And okay, this is the latest block and this is the latest transaction there. And you can see this is the latest transaction. How many ethers has been transferred? It's 0.005 ethers, which is $5. Now, nowhere you can see the name. So it's not like a bank application where you have everything secret. Everything is open here. Anyone can see the transactions. Now, the only thing is what they can't see is the who, I mean, they can't see the from and they can't see to. I mean, it's an address. Now, this is called anonymous, not exactly anonymous. This is pseudo-anonymous. You can't see the name here, but you can see the address. Now, why I'm saying this is not completely anonymous, why it is pseudo-anonymous is because if I know the address belongs to someone, I can track all the transaction. So let's say this is one of the transactions really happened on the Ethereum blockchain. If I click on this, I can actually track all the transaction done by this particular address. So you can see this person has actually bought something on OpenSea, maybe an NFT. He's doing a lot of NFTs stuff here. So basically you can track everything. So if I happen to know this address belongs to Mr. Pawar here, hey Pawar, I can see all your transactions here. Now this is risky, right? Okay, so not exactly, but then I don't know the real name of this person. But I know that JM has sent me some ethers, right? So if I got to know JM's address, where is that? So this is Rinkybi address and the first token, this is what I guess this is JM's. And if I click on this address, so this is your transactions, JM. Is it correct? So I'm not sure exactly if it is JM's, but then that's my guess because this is my second transaction. I requested JM to send the money and I can now see all the transactions from JM. Now this is where it is risky because once you share your address, now the good thing is this is actually a test network. So even if it is getting shared, it is not harmful for JM. But then what if this is actually, I'm sharing everything on the Ethereum mainnet. So it is quite risky. And that's why most of the companies are not going to use public blockchain. They are going to use private blockchain because they want to keep the privacy. Awesome. Is it making sense now? But if I want to see all my transactions, so this is my address, right? So this is all the transaction I have gone through. Again, everything is input for me. I have not spent anything yet. Okay, who is JM? Someone who is watching this video and then commented that they can send me some ethers. I mean, I don't know James personally, but yeah. So you can see this is all my transactions here. So even my transactions are public. So if you happen to know my address, these are the transactions I have done. And all the transactions are input for me. I have not sent any transaction on my side. It's all the input. Now, if you want to observe a particular transaction, which is very important to understand. So let's say if I want to understand this particular transaction, and as you can see, I have received the money from all other people, not the same person. So if I click on this, now this is the transaction hash. So every transaction will have a hash. And the status is successful because the moment you do a transaction, it will take some time to get the success. Okay, and this is the block number for the Rinkybi test network, not for the Ethereum test network or Ethereum main network. This is for the test network, which is Rinkybi. And the number of blocks which are added after my block confirmation. So this is very important. When you talk about blockchain, if this transaction was a part of, let's say, 10th block, I got 14 more blocks after this particular transaction. Now, your transaction is fixed or it's more confirmed the moment you have more blocks written after your block. Okay, and then we have from, and this is to. So this is my address. I have received it. How many ethers I have received? Which is 0.05 ethers. Now the real value is 0 because it is fake ethers. And this is the transaction fee. Now basically the transaction fee is actually calculated with the help of a gas price. Now what is a gas price? See, every time you do a transaction, every time you send money, or every time you do anything on the Ethereum network, even if you want to add two numbers, or if you want to add some data in a database, everything is a transaction. So you have to pay a fee for it. Now we call them as a gas price. Now this is a gas price, but then, I mean, gas price is fixed at this point, but then it is not consuming only one gas unit. We have multiple gas units. So if you have a simple operation like 2 plus 2, it will consume less gas units. If you have a very complex operation, let's say you want to calculate a big, I mean, if you want to find the transaction, or maybe whatever complex operation you can think about. So the more you have complex operation, the more gas unit it's going to consume. Sorry for that. I have a bit of infection, you can say. Anyway, so you can see that we have number of gas unit which is consumed. So this is the amount of gas supplied for this transaction, and everything is consumed. So this is the amount of units you have consumed. Okay. Awesome. So Karthik says money goes to the miners. Yes, in the real life, I mean, if you use the Ethereum main network, then that money goes to the miners. But then we have a fake money here. So this is actually, and that's why I'm saying, you know, the people who are running this network are actually doing something good for the Ethereum network. And one more important thing, we have input data, which is as of now 0x, which is we have not sent any input data. But then once you start working on the smart contract, because in the smart contract you have to pass some values, at that point we are going to put some data here. Is it making sense, everyone? Kanaya says you're awesome. Thank you so much. And every time you say something good about me, I feel good. I teach more. I am more excited to teach. Thank you so much, Kanaya. Okay, now this is the transaction we have talked about. Let's go back to the mix, or let's get back to the MetaMask. And okay, so I've received 1.7 Rinkibi. So more people are sending me. That's enough of money for today. If you really try to confirm this in real life, it is real ethers, it will cost around 1.5 lakhs. But again, this is fake ethers. Anyway, at least we can use it for the transactions or the classes. Okay, I don't need you, Chainlink. I got help. But anyone else, if you want to get ethers, you have to go to faucet.chainlink, and then that's where you will get your ethers. Okay, let's write our smart contract. Now, what smart contract we are going to write? How do we write a smart contract? The first thing you have to mention is, whenever you write a smart contract, is the compiler version. See, if you remember, when we clicked on this compiler, Solidity compiler, we have multiple versions here. Now, blockchain itself is a new technology. And when you talk about Solidity, it's a new programming language. And whenever you have something new, it takes a lot of time. I mean, every new version will have a lot of new updates, right? So it will take some time for it to get stable. But then every time you got a new version, you will have some new updates. So what is the issue with new updates? The issue is, might be the features which you were working earlier will not work in future. And maybe the new features will not work in the older one. So be very specific which compiler version you're going to use. So as you can see, I'm using, which is 0.8.7, but you can also use 0.1.14. That works. And whatever compiler you're going to use, you have to mention that compiler here. Now, how do we do that? So for that, you have to use a word called pragma. Okay, so pragma is basically a directive here which specifies what version you're going to use. And if the font is not visible, let me increase the font size a bit. Okay, now you have to mention pragma. And next you have to mention the word which is solidity. And remember, both this word need to be, oh, what's wrong with my keyboard? Solidity. And then you have to mention the version number. Now, version number, to be specific, is 0.8.14. It's always better to specify the exact version. But if you want to say that, hey, my code should work on this version and above, in that case, you can also use one more symbol, which is caret symbol. So when you say caret, it means this smart contract will support this particular compiler version and above. And to be on safe side, it's better to have the older version. So you can say this and above. And to be very specific, always use a particular version. Okay, Bhavesh is asking, we are learning about crypto? No, we are not learning about crypto. We are learning about development. How do we build applications on blockchain? That's what we are learning here. Okay, now if you have just joined, if you have not seen the previous video, so basically we are coming up with a blockchain hackathon where you can come and you can participate. You will get a problem statement, and if you solve that problem statement, and of course there will be multiple participants, and you just have to write the blockchain code, whatever you are learning here. I mean, of course, you have to solve a problem, but then this is a syntax or this is a concept you have to use there. Now, you have to be there for multiple reasons. The first one is winning prize. The first winning prize is 2 lakh rupees. The second winning prize is 1 lakh rupees. And the third winning prize is 50,000 rupees. Apart from this, we also have NFTs for most of the participants, first come, first serve. So we have around 200 NFTs worth $2,000. And that will be first come, first serve. Apart from this, the one person, the social media influencer, will get an iPhone. Apart from this, there will be goodies like t-shirts, the Aniron t-shirts from, or jackets from Aniron. And the most important thing is, the reason you should be there is to learn. Okay. And how do we register for the hackathon? You can find the link in description. That's how you can register. And one more thing. The location office, the hackathon location is offline. It will be in Bangalore. And before the hackathon, there will be 2-hour workshop. So I'll be conducting that workshop offline. I'll be there in the office to conduct the workshop. And I would love to see you people there. And we can have a real connect there. Okay, coming back here. So this is how you write a code. You say pragma, solidity, you specify the version number. Now let's create a contract. So in the world of blockchain, if you want to do any logical processing, that is called a smart contract. And to connect with Java, C++, it's imagine simply a class. Now, how do we create a contract? The name itself says you can say contract. That's it. So just say contract and mention a name for it. Maybe you're building a contract for managing all the assets you have in your company, maybe a mobile laptop, a computer, a light, or anything you have there. So basically, let me create asset manager as my contract. That's how you do it. So you mention the contract keyword and then you mention the name. And then open the curly brackets and close. This is where you will write all your logic. And that's it. This is your first smart contract. Is it this simple? Actually, it is. It is this simple. So you got your contract, you got your asset manager there, and that's the name of your contract here. And of course, you can mention certain things here, but then as of now, we are focusing only on the contract. And the moment you do that, you can simply say Control S for Windows and Command S for Mac. And you can see done. You can see it says compiling. Is it done? Or we can click on the compile button here. So click on compile. The contract is compiled. As of now, you are getting a warning, but come on, we are developers. We don't care about warnings. That's the step. The next step you do is you have to deploy the code. So once it is compiled, deploy the code. And of course, even deployment will charge you some money. Let's see if it's charging. It will charge in the Rinkibi. Let's test here. So we have 100 ethers and we want to deploy this contract. So before deploying, first you have to make sure that you compile it. So compilation, then deployment. And then click on deploy. So you can see it is deployed. It was fast because we are doing it on local machine. But when you do it on the real network, it will take some time. And can you see that? The moment I click on deploy, money got detected. And that's fine. We have 100 ethers, right? And we have multiple accounts. But remember this, every time you do a transaction, every time you deploy something, every time you test something, every time you do a transaction, it will charge you something. Okay, so money got detected here and the contract is deployed. Now, which contract got deployed? If you can see here, if I expand this left bottom section, this is my contract, which is asset manager. Simple stuff, right? Okay, Weibo is asking, hackathon is going to start at 10, then workshop is, no, the workshop will start at 10. So 10 to 12 will be a workshop. And after that, the hackathon will start. Okay. Okay, is it compulsory to write this pragma here? It should be first line of code. But even if you don't do that, you will not get any error. There's a warning. So they will get the warning that mentioned the pragma version. But it's always better to mention the version. Okay. Now there's one more warning here. If you can see, again, we are not concerned about warning, but it's always good to solve the warning as well. It says you're writing a code, but also mention the license, which license you're going to use. So it's SPDX license. Oh, I forgot the syntax there. SPDX license identifier. SPDX license identifier. So basically you're mentioning what is the license of your code. So I'm saying the license is MIT, so which is open source, anyone can use it. And okay, and then you have to make sure that you put that in a comment section. So you have to put it as a comment. Now, how do you put comment in Solidity? You have to say double slash. Or if you have a multi-line comment, you say slash star. Even that works. Okay. Cool. Now, once you mention the license, again, not compulsory, but then why to get the warning as well. And that's your compile it. But then I don't want to work with asset manager. We want to work with very simple, right? So let's say the first thing you all should always do is you write hello world contract just to get started. Yeah, it doesn't matter which language you work with. You always start with hello world. And with this, you know, right, what we want. We want to greet everyone as hello world. Now, if you want to show a message, that's where you will use something called, so basically, you know, for Solidity is actually a object-oriented programming language, okay? So which means everything is an object here. And when you talk about object, object will have two things. Object knows something and object does something. Let me repeat, object knows something and object does something. Object knows something with the help of variables. An object does something with the help of functions. So basically a contract will have variables and you can also have functions. Again, not compulsory to have functions there, but then a contract can have variables, functions, either or both, depending upon the requirement. Okay, cool. And now if this is done, so yeah, so we have to do this, right? Now, how do you mention a variable here? So I want to create a variable which will print hello world. That's it. Now, the way you do that is by mentioning a variable name. Of course, you can use any variable name. Let me say greet equal to. So greet is my variable here. And I want to assign a value. The way you do it in normal languages, you use double quotes for the string. So I will say hello world. And welcome back aliens. Okay. Now here we got greet message, right? But then Solidity is actually a statically typed language, which means for every variable, you have to specify the type as well. So which type of message this is? This is a type string. So you have to use a string type and you're done. Now, the only thing is if you want to work with this string, you have to also specify the visibility option. So do you want this to be visible outside this contract or do you want this to be visible inside the contract? So for that, you have multiple options. So if you want to make it visible outside as well, you use something called a public keyword. So this public is actually a visibility. So the first thing you mention is the type, then you mention the visibility, and then you mention the variable name. Okay, and once it is done, let me just compile this code. I guess this is compilation done. Let me go back here and let's deploy. Compilation done. In fact, I want to remove the earlier deployment. Click on deploy. Again, it will consume some gas units. And you can see we got our contract here. And with that contract, we got a beautiful button there, which is greet. The moment you click on this button, you can see we got a message which is, hello world, welcome back aliens. So congratulations, we have written our first Solidity code and it is working. Cool. Okay, so come on, if you have attended till this point, hit that like button. Make it cross 200. Okay, but as I mentioned before, whenever you work with a contract, it will have variables. We have done that. We got one variable. And we also need functions, right? If you want to do something extra, you want to perform some operation, you will also need a function there, right? So what I will do now is I will create a function for different thing. So maybe this time we'll create something like a number. I want to set a number. I want to remove a number. Let's do that. So let me remove all this part from here. Okay. So what I will do now is let me create a variable. Okay, just a second. Are there any questions? So Binance uses Solidity. Not sure. But we also have Binance Chain, Binance Smart Chain, or BNB Chain is what they call. Cool. So what I want to do now is we want to create a variable, right? So because we want to perform operations as well. So let's say a simple variable. Now this time, instead of going for string, let's go for integer. Okay, so you can simply say int for integers. Now integer, when you say it ranges, it's a number, but basically it ranges from the negative number to positive number. So we can say int, and we can define a variable called num or number, right? And then you can assign values to it. You can remove values. But the way I want to assign values and remove values is with the help of functions. So, if you try to remember Java, what we do is we say getter setters functions. So let's do that. So I can create a function here to set the value for this num. Because if we don't set the value for this num, it will be by default 0. So default value for num is 0. So I can say function set, that's it, function name. And what value I want to set, you can pass that value in this round bracket. Now, what value I want to send? Again, I want to send data and inside this variable n. So basically what I'm trying to do is I want to set the value for this num. And for that, I have a function here called set, which takes an integer value. And that integer value will be assigned to my num. So whatever value you receive here will be assigned to this num. It's that simple, right? This is what you do in other languages. And that's why if you know any other language like maybe JavaScript, C, C++, it looks similar, right? Awesome. And for everyone else, if you are in blockchain world and if you want to work with us, so we are hiring blockchain developers. So if you are in Bangalore or if you can move to Bangalore, we are hiring. If you want to apply, please send a mail on connect@telescore.com. So we are hiring blockchain developers. I can see a few blockchain developers in the chat, so I got excited. Okay, cool. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to assign the value. But this code looks simple, right? But your compiler says, hey, it's not that enough. Your compiler says there is no visibility specified. So if you want this function to be called from outside, you have to say, hey, make it public. So just after the function name, write public and done. So that's your thing there. Okay. Now what I want here is I got public, I got this stuff. It should work, right? How do I test will it work? I'm trying to assign the values, but will it work? So this time what I will do is I will again compile this code, compilation done, I guess. And let me remove the old contract from here. Let me say deploy. Again, it will charge me some transactions. Okay, email address, can you just paste the email address in the chat? Okay, so you can see it is deployed. And now if I expand, you can see we got an option of set, but this time we got a different color. We got orange color. Now, before this, we got the blue color button, right? So when you say blue color button, it means every time you click on that, it will not charge you any money. But orange means every time you click on this button, it will charge money to you. Let me show you. I'm assigning a number here. You can see we got a box here because it is expecting a number from me. So I'm entering a number which is 225 and click on set. The moment you do that, it will assign a new value to num. But how can we verify? We have not done anything to verify that, right? Oh, how do I call this num? If it is a variable, before this also we have used a variable and we were able to see the button here. The thing is, before this example, we have written a public here and that's why we are able to see the button there. At this point, we are not doing it. So let's say public now again and say compile and deploy once again. Let me remove the old contract from here. We got a new contract. You can see we got a button now. Now, if you make this variable public, then only you can see the button there. Otherwise, you can't see the button. And let's assign the value, which is 55, set. And now if you click on num, you can see we got a new value, which is 55. If you assign a new value, let's say 14, and see this, every time you make a change, example, before this click, the last is 687. The moment I click on set, it will charge you some money. And you can see there's some changes in the numbers here. So every click will charge you some money. But then every time you click on num, it will not charge you because num is only reading data. Set is actually changing data. So every time you change data on the blockchain, it will charge you money. Every time you read data, it will not charge you money. Yeah, that's right. This code looks like Java code. It's a lot of similarities are there. But the thing is, I got one of the comment why this public location looks weird. I know if you're coming from Java background, this looks very weird, but then yeah, that's how they are built this language. Okay, so this is how you do it, right? This is how you do it. But then if you are keeping a function to set the value, don't you think there should be a function to get the value? So I can create a function to get the value, which will return the value to me. I want another button, but the moment you do that, you got multiple errors. Yeah, I know this should be public. Let's say public. Is it solving the error? It solved one error, but still we have one more error here. It says different number of arguments in return statement than in return declaration. Oh, the thing is in Solidity, if you are returning data, you have to say what it returns. So you have to write a keyword which is returns, and in bracket, you have to mention what type of data it is returning. So the return type is int. So let me repeat again. If you are returning the data, you have to write this returns keyword and mention the type of data it is returning here. Okay, done. Compilation, there is still a warning. It says function state mutability can be restricted to view. That's right. So see, if you talk about this particular function, what I will do is I will just save this and I will compile, compilation done, deploy. The new deployment will be coming here. You can see that we got a button which is get. So we got a button for set, we got a button for num, which is blue, and then we got get for orange. I can set the value, let's say 558. What happens if I don't set the value? Let me remove the value and let me click on num. By default, you can see which is 0. Again, this is a free transaction. There's no charges for this particular button because we are not changing anything. It is not even a transaction. We are just reading data. But if you set the data, if you say 777 set, that is one transaction. You can see something is changing here. And we'll explore more about this transaction later. But when you click on num, you got 777. You can click on get also. It is giving you the value. Okay, let me change the value to 88, get. Oh, it is not printing the value. Oh, to print a value, you have to say view. We want to view data, right? And then it will change the color as well. Let me show you that. So when you are not changing anything, you just fetching the value, you can make it view, and you can see we got new color here. So when you say get, this time it will show you some data. So I will say 778 set get, you can see we got the value. So if you have a function which only returns a value, simply say view there. Is it making sense? So just look at the code once and let me know if you have any questions. That's right. Even if you are a Java developer, it will be very easy for you to learn Solidity and become a blockchain developer. Okay, great. Now where you will find all this data, so all this code which we are doing and all the nodes. So by tomorrow, I will give you the access for the dashboard where you will find this data, the code and the nodes. As of now, the dashboard is not ready. By tomorrow, I will make sure that the dashboard is ready to use and you will find all the data there. That's right. The get button will not change anything. It will just return the data which you have. So let me know in the chat if you have enjoyed this session. This is already its first session, but next session will be coming on Friday. We'll build something big on Friday. I mean, not big, but then we'll go step by step, right? So that's it from this video. Maybe we'll start early, maybe 6:30 next time. Okay, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care. See you in the next live session. And hit that bell icon. Or hit that like button. Hit the bell icon so that you will get notified next time when we go live. Okay. Thank you so much.